fuck, this is gonna be a rough one.
I am so sorry. My car broke down just down the road, and I was wondering if I could just use the phone really quick.
You don't want her to come in? Why don't you go fix her car instead?
I want us to go back 5 minutes, leave the door closed.
Trespassers is a film directed by Orson Oblowitz. It stars Angela Trimber and features the return of Fairuza Balk for all of 10 minutes. It's about two dysfunctional couples who rent out a home in the desert, and then weird people show up and start harassing them. This movie lured me in with promises of the return of Fairuza Balk, horror darling, and I'm gonna now spoil the shit out of it because you should not watch it. Positives first, I guess. This movie has really nice production design. Aesthetically speaking, it's nice. The house is really pretty. The lighting is really good. I'll also say that Angela Trimber's back must hurt from carrying this entire fucking movie. And that's it. Now let's talk about why this movie wasn't good. Obvious reasons first. You don't put horror darling Fairuza Balk in a movie like this and just waste her like that. This is her big return to the genre, and she shows up for 10 minutes, acts sketchy, and then dies. And they kill her off before she has a chance to do anything worthwhile. The rest of the characters range from boring to flat-out horrendous, both in terms of acting and in writing. When I think of insufferably generic horror movies, the opening of this film is the kind of movie I think of. Just a group of obnoxious people who speak in expository dialogue. The guys are total shitbags. The girl is like stripping for both guys. They're all just being really obnoxious and unlikable people. There's nothing to any of their characters except that they're vaguely trying to escape insert stressful situation here. It's really hard for me to give a shit about a movie that's providing me no reason to care, and boy, did this movie not give me any reason to care. The character arcs are non-existent. The characters themselves are flat. The plot is so barely there that this movie is more boring than anything. And aside from Angela Trimber being a badass and being a good actress as per usual, there was absolutely nothing in this film to keep me hooked. Now let's take a quick moment to talk about why this movie is essentially The Strangers but problematic. Because honestly, the entire plot is the same. Dysfunctional couple in a house that isn't theirs, accosted by masked assailants. The only difference here is that there are two couples this time, and the masked assailants are Mexican. Now, I shouldn't have to explain why having the only Hispanic characters in the movie be murderous home invaders is pretty in poor taste, especially given the racial divisions in this country at the moment. But for the sake of this video, let's just take a moment to talk about this, because not only is it in poor taste, it's something that I cannot find any redeeming qualities in at all, because all of these villains are literally written as cartoon characters. The ringleader fucking monologues. The main masked goon almost exclusively speaks in hisses and grunts. And while I don't necessarily think that this was the intention at all, the movie kind of ends up coming across as this weird propagandist message to Donald Trump's red cap cult. You can see why I have an issue with this, right? Group of really flat, stereotypical Mexican antagonists show up to accost and murder the pretty white people minding their own business in a desert house. Does that not rub anyone else a little bit the wrong way? I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into this. Maybe because finding something problematic about this movie at least makes it worth talking about, as opposed to it just being vapid and uninspired and boring, which it also was. Originally it was called Hell is Where the Home Is, and I assume that upon picking it up for distribution, IFC Midnight recognized that that is probably the worst movie title in human history, and promptly changed it to Trespassers, a title which is somehow both better than the original title, and also perfectly appropriate because it is the least interesting title ever. This movie sucked, guys. It really did. I am legitimately drained from how unenthused I was throughout the entirety of this movie. Trespassers is soulless. Not even Angela Trimber, one of my favorite actresses in the genre right now, could save this movie from making me want to slip into a coma. I'm sorry this review is so short and essentially saying nothing, but like, I cannot process how completely pointless this movie was. It just kind of furthers the proof that IFC Midnight just will make anything, and some of their stuff is really great, and some of it is just absolutely not. Do with that what you will. I don't know. Like, comment, subscribe.